How you doing, guys? Alessandro here from Spicy Moustache with some new tips in order to help you create your own green area, indoor or outdoor, following the principles of do as nature does. Now that you can feel that spring is around the corner, you can finally start to planning and organizing your garden. One of the main things that I like to plan ahead of time is the support for my plant. You could potentially have the best seeds on the market, but without an appropriate care and a solid structure to support the plant growth, the yield in the end will be minimal. For example, tomatoes are one of the easiest plants to grow and care for in your vegetable garden. Either if you are a beginner or expert gardener, they are one of the most common vegetables to grow in your garden. Although tomatoes require a solid structure to support their growth and provide a high yield at the end of the season. So dig up that like button, and today I'll show you all you need to know in order to build your own tomato trellis. Tomatoes are botanically defined as fruit because they form from a flower and they contain seeds. Still, they're most often used as vegetable in cooking. One of the most common classifications that you will often see on a label or packet of seeds will be determinate or indeterminate tomatoes. These two terms refers to the way the plant grow. If left to their natural tendencies, tomato vine will become a damp and tangled mess on the soil and attract pests and disease. Determinate tomatoes are varieties that grow to a fixed size and ripen all the fruit pretty much all at once in a short period of time, that usually is around 2 weeks' time. Once all the fruit has ripened, the plant will start to be visually less vigorous and settle almost no new growth. Determinate tomatoes are often referred to as bush because they do not continue to extend in length and they rather stay in a compact size. They are generally smaller plants than indeterminate varieties, and they tend to grow to around 4 to 5 feet tall. Pruning and removing suckers from determinate varieties is generally not needed because they stop growing on their own. Despite their compact size, staking is always recommended. They will be supporting a heavy load once all the fruit starts to ripen and grow in size. This will put a considerable amount of weight on the branches that potentially might snap, so staking will help the plant. On the other hand, indeterminate varieties are tomatoes that continue to grow in length throughout the season. This is why you will sometimes see them referred to as vining tomatoes. Indeterminate varieties continue to set and ripen new fruit throughout the growing season until the frost kills the plant. They will give you a slow and steady supply of tomatoes rather than a single and large harvest. However, they will start maturing a bit late in the season because they will focus a lot of energies in the vegetative growth of the plant. You will also have to pinch the side shots, called suckers, in order to control the growth of the plant and keep it manageable. The majority of tomato varieties are indeterminate, including heirlooms and cherry varieties. The indeterminate varieties need large stored stakes or caging because of how long they grow. The plant could potentially reach 6 to 10 feet or taller and become really heavy. Both tomato varieties require to be staked in order to support their growth throughout the whole vegetative process and until the fruit is fully mature. Last year I had most of my tomato plants inside the greenhouse, and I used metal wire with bamboo sticks along with the metal frame of the greenhouse to support their growth. However, this method was time consuming and pretty annoying once the plants were due to be removed from the growing space. But I found another great method online, which I will link in the description of the video, along with the DIY project explained step by step. What I'm doing today will be much sturdier and resistant to support the growth of my tomatoes. I'm using this wood that I found from B&Q, but if you're lucky enough, you can find second-hand materials that you can repurpose and use in your garden. If you're planning to use any wood preservatives, I recommend to apply it now before starting to assemble your tomato trellis. The wooden pieces I selected are 1 by 1.5 inches, and I'll cut them in sections of 72 inches as I'm trying to build a trellis pretty high to grow indeterminate varieties of tomatoes. I will start by building the sides of the structure, which will be made by 2 wooden legs with the top cut at 180 degrees just for an aesthetic look. Now that you've got your wooden legs, you can start cutting your braces. The first one will be 9.5 inches in length, and you will place it at 4 inches from the top. And the second one will be 34.75 inches, and you will place it at 6 inches from the bottom. When fixing the wooden braces, just remember to place the screws off center. So in this way, you will lessen the chances of splitting the wood. I use 2.3 inches length screws. Now that you've got one of the sides ready, you can proceed to create the second one. What I did on this one, I cut the braces at an angle, again for aesthetic look, so it's something that it's optional. When you're ready to put the two A-frames together, have someone to hold up one of the A-frames and put a long trellis wooden bar on the top that goes from one side to the other, and you can fix it with some screws. Now repeat the same process for the other A-frame, and you will have the base for your wooden trellis structure for your tomatoes. To make it more stable, I also fixed a long wooden trellis bar going from the bottom of one of the A sides to the other one. You could also skip this step and use the base of the plant, but I prefer to make it more solid. I kept 34.5 inches gap between the two wooden legs at the bottom and 6.5 inches gap at the top. But that's just based on the sizes that I'm using for my raised bed. You could also make it bigger or smaller. The last step would be to run some hardy cotton twine or durable string from top to bottom, which will be the main support for your plant. As I said, I'm growing undeterminate varieties, which means that I need to pinch off some suckers as the plant grows, but I leave 1 or 2 vines to grow along with the main stem. So I'm gonna create some support for the suckers. I will guide the vines as they grow, twining them around the string. I will also put some screws at the top and secure the string to make sure it's not moving. Building this trellis was absolutely easy, and I didn't use any power tool except of my drill, but I could have done it without it. Also, you don't need any building background. I just followed some instructions and I paid attention to details. If you build this correctly, it will last you for a few years. All you need to do is to cut off the wires and replace them with some new ones. And if you use that compostable material, you could also compost it. And if not, you can just dispose of it. It's also really easy to dismantle and build again if you're moving out of a rented place. I hope you liked today's video, and if so, please subscribe to my channel, turn on the notification setting so you can be notified every time I post a new video. I'll see you next week for a new episode. Thank you very much for watching. See ya.